This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. Magazine publisher and entrepreneur Judith Mancini is sharing captivating conversations with experts in their field about the latest trend in our ever-changing world to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Judith Mancini today will spark your interest and inspire you to lead your best life ever. And now, here's Judith.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Judith Mancini Today. That is from the new album that's going to be dropping on Saturday. It's called Unique. And we have Jeff Bonilla and we have Georgie Donovan with us today. Unfortunately, Charles couldn't join us, but we are here. Good morning, you two.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Who wants to start and tell us about this new album? Jeff?
Well, sure. Really quickly, that song you heard is actually, it's a batch of songs that we're working on right now. It's called Wake Up World. That'll be the album. And it's more of, social commentary on things that are going on.
Did I say the wrong name of the album?
What?
Unique?
Unique is an album that's coming out this weekend on Saturday. And that's just kind of a...
Sorry, I'm confused.
That's fine. Unique is an album that's coming out Saturday, and it's more of an uplifting. It has songs about self-esteem and things like that. Georgie wrote a lot of the songs on there, so we have that coming out on Saturday. Great. That what you just heard there is like a sneak preview to our
next album.
The next album, which is like we're pissed off about what's going on. That's what that's going to be about.
Okay, so that is, which album is the song from that I just had one play?
So that's called, the album will be called Wake Up World. That's the title track. Yeah, and that doesn't have a release date yet. We're working on the songs.
Okay, so I got them backwards. Okay, sorry everybody.
It's okay.
You guys are so creative and so prolific. I get them mixed up. I really like that song. I mean, listen to the words. These are songs that you need to listen to the words. They're all fabulous. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. What else do you have to tell me? What else are you working on?
Well, after the first assassination attempt, can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Great. Yeah. So after the first assassination attempt, I wrote a song called Words Have Power. because, you know, the media has such an influence on the way people feel and think in this country, and they are so divisive that I was really upset about that. So I did write a song about that. So that's also on that album as well. So that'll be dropping really soon. So we all quickly wrote, you know, a bunch of songs for that album. So that's the song you just played is on that album, which will be dropping really soon. So
how can you quickly write a song? You guys are just incredible people here.
Well, we've just got a lot of thoughts and feelings, and we just get at it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Now, I saw on one of the albums, it had a site to go to where you could get 25% off and the proceeds go to you guys or something. I've never seen the site before.
Jeff?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
That was, yeah, I think that was a deal that we have some music up on a site called Bandcamp.
I think that was it.
Yeah, Broken Heart Rebels /Bandcamp. I don't know the exact URL, but they had a thing, I think it was last Friday, where they were gonna, instead of taking their usual cut that they do, if people bought albums.
On that's Friday. That Friday.
Yeah, they got this Friday.
Oh,
thing.
so that's over.
Yeah, so proceeds go to
okay.
all artists.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure what it was. I had, as I say, I hadn't seen the site before. So, okay, good. All righty. Well, let's get into what's going on in the country now that is getting you to create these thoughts of yours and your position on who's running for president and what just exactly is going on. I mean, does everybody think that the world is going to end, that the United States is going to end, crumble if Kamala gets elected? Or do we think that everything will be fabulous if Trump gets elected?
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, we definitely need Trump in power because, you know, Harris is part of the whole New World Order. You know, Harris and Biden, they're pushing for the whole New World Order thing. They don't talk about it, but they are part of the Agenda 2030, which is why they keep talking about Project 2025, because they don't want you to know about Agenda 2030. So
is there actually a group 2030 now besides the 2025 group?
Yes, so the Agenda 2030 is definitely a platform. You can look it up, Agenda 2030.
Okay, I'll do that.
The World Economic Forum. It's part of the World Economic. Yes, it's a World Economic Forum platform, World Economic Forum, and United Nations platform. So for me, what I've been saying is that Kamala Harris, she doesn't really have a platform. So her campaign is a what was it? Sorry, I wrote this all down so I wouldn't. A distraction. She's all about it's a distraction campaign. So it's like, look there, don't look here. So look at Project 25 so we don't ever have to talk about Agenda 2030. And
well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I haven't been having a lot of spare time lately to do as much research as I normally do because of everything happening in my personal life, which fortunately is getting straightened out here. But I just looked up Project 25. Now, last year, I believe it was, I was invited to go to a Heritage Foundation luncheon and speaker series. I found it quite boring. Basically, it was a speaker who had been in the Navy and on a ship, and he was an officer of something, some rank, I don't recall, because he was very boring. And it came out with a couple of books that they were giving away, and I gave it to my hostess so she could give it to her son or somebody because I wasn't interested in reading it. I did not realize until I looked up 2025 how far right the Heritage Foundation was, because I'm not a member of it. and it is really far right. Isn't anybody on the middle of the road anymore?
I know. And they were on Fox yesterday. Kevin Roberts is the president of Project 2025. I didn't know that they're actually a 501c3. I didn't know
How
they
can
were.
they be?
He said that they're a nonprofit. So he said that when they're a nonprofit, the presidents or whatever, they cannot actually be a part of a
Right.
501c3. So I think that's actually a very important point to make. He said they can't do endorsements. They just offer options to the conservative leaders, and then it's up to them whether they take. But I think that's a really important point to make.
It is an important point. But Jeff, what do you think? Would Trump ever join that if he wasn't president?
No, I looked at it briefly. It's you got some of the stuff is conservative, but some of it I think it's far right.
Well, I think some of it was very racist.
I don't recall reading. I don't remember all of the points on there, but I know that that's what they keep throwing at Trump, trying to make him like he's part of it, but he's not. And the reason she was saying it's a 501c3 is because he can't be part of it anyways. So the Agenda 2030 is more of the one that people should pay attention to, because that's the one they're hiding. But that's basically the one where the World Economic Forum says you'll have nothing and be happy. That's where they want us to be, on a digital currency and on the basic income.
And they only want you to travel like once a year. They limit travel to once a year.
They'll have their little 15-minute cities. They won't allow you to
eat beef.
They'll do they want to bring in the China social credit system.
Mm-hmm.
That's all part of it. So when Trump stepped in last time, he sort of threw a wrench in their plans so now they're trying to accelerate Project 2030. But I mean, Klaus Schwab wrote a book on it. It's not like it's a big secret. He called it the Great Reset.
It sounds like a CCP manifesto.
Well, it is. And also the whole build, if you look into it, Build Back Better, that's actually a manifesto from the Marxists.
Yeah, that's a World Economic Forum platform as well. Build Back Better.
Yeah. So basically, if with Kamala and Biden, or any Democrats at this point, for whatever reason they've adapted, the whole CCP, China. They, who was it? Trudeau was saying he admires Xi Jinping. So everybody wants to become a communist. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know how they all infiltrated our institutions, but they have. And maybe it's because they already have all the money in the world and they don't really care. And they just want to, it's all about power. Maybe it's about demons. I don't know at this point.
Well, for one thing, the CCP, and if you go over to Putin and the Communist Party over there and all, the leaders have all the money. None of the worker bees have any money. And that's what communism ends up being. Mm-hmm. They throw people in prison and hard labor camps and all in both countries if you go up against them. And clearly, there are a lot of countries in the world who want to go to that kind of government. They want the people to line up for their bowl of rice. They don't want to have the farmers raising the beef, like you say. And, it's to me very frightening. I would hate to think of you all, you're younger than I am, and my daughter and her family and my grandkids. I don't want them to grow up in a world like this.
Yeah. And they're hiding their agendas underneath
They are.
So they're saying that it's climate change and they're trying to protect the environment, with the spraying the skies or whatever, when they're actually trying to control the food.
Right. Exactly.
I'll say really quick, since she brought up spraying the skies, how people, don't believe in chemtrails, although it's been pretty much, there's a lot of whistleblowers now that say, yeah, they are.
My son was very concerned about them.
Yeah. Well, one night I had to take the dogs out in the backyard. It was like 3 a.m. They had to go out in the back. And so I took them out, and I'm by SFO here. So there's always planes flying around. I'm always looking up in the skies. And so this one night I'm there and I look and I see this plane flying unusually low, way lower than any other plane I've ever seen. and it was all black. It didn't have the standard red and green lights on it. And it's
Oh my.
flying about, I'm going to say 1,000 to 2,000 feet above us. And behind it, there's just this huge black plume of something that's being dumped as it's flying by. And I realized the path it's taken is right over Crystal Springs Reservoir. And that's the drinking water for San Francisco.
That's right.
Yeah. So they're definitely, people don't want to believe this, and people don't want to believe there's a deep state. There really is. And they really are all about control. And what really saddens me the most and kind of pisses me off is the fact that our military goes along with doing all these,
Why is that? I mean, if you look at the administration that's in power now, these military people in the different positions, like Blinken and some of the other ones, they preach this stuff as if it's already in place. And I think they believe it is. And this is what worries me. What if they decide to do a coup, a military coup, and put Kamala in, or somebody else from their side? Because I don't think Austin and these people, Miley, who was there before, I don't think that they are loyal patriots. Now, that's just my opinion. I haven't read that anywhere, but I see people alluding to it in their different posts on Facebook or some of the other social media sites. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I think our military has been compromised. The problem is that the rank and file still take orders. At some point, they're going to have to choose between the oath they took to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, or take up arms against us. Because I do have a relative that is very high up in the military, and he's a career officer. And I asked him about that, and he just said, wow, he goes, I said, what happens if they give orders, to open fire on civilians? If it gets to that point, civil war
Right.
or martial law, he said, it's a 50-50, whether they follow orders or not. He goes, you got to remember, all the military guys in there right now, they're really young, 18 up to 23, right? So they don't have that past loyalty, patriotic, which, all the older soldiers have, and the older soldiers that are in there, or, officers, generals, they're not going to lose their pension, right? So they're just going to stay on the down low. But the ones like Miley and Austin that are, really into the whole woke thing and part of the deep state, they're the ones that can pull some strings. So it really is frustrating to see that our military follows these things, or even our local police, So I don't know what the answer is, but it's definitely something that a lot of us have talked about over and over,
Well, we don't have a group of people in the military now. Recruitment is down, and these are very young kids, as you say, and they're expected to protect us. They're expected to go over and fight a war that they're not interested in. They can't understand the reason for it. This is not like World War II, when people saw what was happening in Europe and all, and they became very patriotic once they figured out what was going on. And those are my generation's parents that did that. And that's when Vietnam came around, people were against it. Why were we there? I still haven't figured out why we were there, but they still had people in the service that were patriotic and loved the country. That's all gone. I think, you get people like Dan Bongino that were in the service, who is a patriot and has gotten very involved in politics and promoting our country and all. But the majority of them don't understand it, and they're very young. So I feel we are in the worst place that we've ever been in this country since I was born. I don't know how you feel. It's frightening. I heard today on the news, some Republican, I don't know who it was because I was putting my makeup on, and I heard that this congressman had another congressman tell him that his house had been shot up. Now, that hasn't been on the news. He just said this in an interview. That is craziness. And all the threats against the Supreme Court. And daily now, people are threatening our soon to be new president, Trump,
I know. It's
with
terrible.
assassination. And yet they don't even, as you say, they haven't even declared that this was an assassination attempt. And I have so many questions about that. This is the last time that has really convinced me that this is coming from the inside, the dark state, as you say.
Yeah.
What say you two about this assassination
Go ahead,
attempt?
Georgie.
Oh, no, you go ahead first.
Well, it's definitely the deep state. I mean, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Reagan, and Trump, of course. So what's the
And
similarity? And
Bush
Bush,
was,
yeah, and right, the grenade thrown onto the stage.
yeah,
So what's the similarity there?
Republicans,
Most of these,
conservatives.
no, but most of these were working for the people and trying to stop corruption within the deep state. So if you want to know who to vote for the guy that they're shooting at, because he's trying to do something good. You know,
That's
that's
right.
all you got to say to these other people that are like, oh, you know, the Trump derangement system. I hate him because he, you know, he's me. He's a misogynist. He's this. He's that. Just like, this ain't about the personality, man. You know, it really isn't. You know, it's about the fact that he's getting shot at because he's the one who wants to make change and get rid of the corruption, and they know that, and they know he can't be bought off. You know, so that's the difference. And Trump hasn't changed his tune since the 80s. He's been saying the same stuff over and over again. You know, he's a patriot. But all these other people, he's in the same group as people that were presidents or leaders that were going to be consequential, you know. And so that's kind of my argument now. It's just who are they trying to assassinate? That's the person that you want in office.
I totally agree with you. I remember his interview where somebody asked him if he, somebody asked him if he would run for president. And he said, no, only if my country needs me. And he put a lot of thought into this, because what has he gained from this?
Right.
I mean, he's lost his money. They're trying to put him in jail for the rest of his life, prison. It's crazy. Now they're trying to kill him every other time. I don't know, Georgie, what do you think? I agree with Jeff.
I think it's amazing that he's still running, and he's determined to still, continue this fight. But I think what's so disheartening is the rhetoric from the other side, that they won't let up, and they're still calling him a threat to democracy, and that he's a danger, that he's dangerous. I mean, Hillary Clinton is going on MSNBC, and she's telling them that they need to be consistent in their narrative, that he is a danger, that he's dangerous. She was just on MSNBC saying that.
Well, she's been on several stations taking away the freedom of speech too.
She said, yeah, how dangerous he is.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
And the White House says the same. They also don't want to, let up on their narrative. And that's exactly what that song was about, is that the media is complicit in what is happening in the country.
Very
and
much
pushing these people to the edge. These people are the ones that are inciting violence in our country. And that's what I was saying about the Harris campaign, that they're the ones that they're saying part of their distraction campaign is that they're saying that Trump is the one who's going to weaponize the DOJ and the FBI when they've already done it. Trump is not the threat to democracy. Harris and Biden are the ones who opened the border. Look at what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. I mean, that is just total insanity. I mean, I just heard yesterday that at the grocery store, these Haitians are checking out with a $30,000 EBT card.
What?
30,000. The grocery bills are
EBT
30.
card?
Yeah,
30,000?
30. Their grocery bills are $30,000 when they're checking out at the grocery store, and that's
So they decided that a filet mignon is much better than a dog.
isn't that crazy? This is at the grocery store.
Yes,
and
but
they
they're
can't
eating
even.
dogs and cats.
I know, and they can't even. The people in Springfield, Ohio, can't even buy a house. They can't
Right.
even rent a property because the Haitians are able to go ahead of them, and the realtors or whatever are upping the price of the properties because the Haitians have more money than they do, and apparently they're very well dressed. How are these people coming here with all this money?
Here's the thing about Haiti. In Haiti, they do eat dogs and cats.
Yes, I
They're
heard
a
that.
very primitive society. They still put curses on people.
No, I heard
and
it's part of some
witchcraft
cultural
and-
thing.
Yes. And when the horrible hurricane came and almost destroyed all of Haiti, the Clintons decided everyone should have a cell phone. And they decided that their friend should be the partner who would sell the government the cell phones to give to the Haitians. Because that was one of the problems during the hurricane that just almost destroyed the entire island and killed many people. The thing is, the people never got the cell phones, but the deal went through, as so many of the Clinton deals do.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And people want to know how these people who went into these high offices came in as just regular people on Senate salaries or congressman salaries, what have you. They got rich by this kind of corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still going on. I mean, look at the last presidents, Clinton and Obama. Now, I was all for having a Black man come in and be president of the United States.
I know.
I think something like that would really bring a lot of us together because there is still a lot of prejudice in the country. But I wasn't willing to have somebody who wants it to become a communist state and suddenly got so wealthy they have three to five, I can't keep up with the count, mansions, stately homes in the most expensive areas in the world. I mean, this is crazy. And Michelle hates the country so badly that she wouldn't come up to run for president. Well, I'm glad she didn't. But the whole world since World War II, that's when the dark state started coming in. And there were those who agreed with the Nazis. I mean, the United States was not in favor of going into the war in Europe. And the people that were in power and all that were on the side of the Nazis, quietly speaking about them, were in high positions of power. The prince, who was going to be the king of England, was in favor of the Nazis. So it's been here in the United States forever, and it's been fermenting. And Trump, being the patriot he is and the great orator he is, has suddenly made this whole pot boil. And it'll be who can withstand the heat and get elected. And I'm very worried what will happen if he doesn't get elected.
Really quick, before I lose my thought here. So we all know that the politicians are all crooked and they all get paid off. That's, they get money laundered through the, Ukraine's a great example of a money laundering operation.
Yes.
The border is dark money. The cartels kick back money to the politicians. I mean, they all come in at a salary of, anywhere from 140 to 200 and something thousand a year, but they're all millionaires. And for the first time ever, I heard Tulsi Gabbard yesterday on a podcast actually calling that out, saying, what's the salaries here in Congress are, 140 to 200 something, yet somehow they all become millionaires. Why is that? So she's the first politician that I've seen to actually call that out, and good for her for finally realizing,
Absolutely.
she was on the wrong side and came over to our side, so
That's awesome.
yeah, they're all
Very
corrupt.
brave thing for her to do.
Yeah. And the other thing is, they've been flying in the illegal immigrants
Mhm.
for years now. I don't know if people know that. It's not just the border. They're literally flying them in, to different states in the middle of the nights.
And
And
wouldn't we like to know how many they've already done before we ever discovered they were doing that?
well, I think they when they discovered it, they figured it was about 350,000 that had already come through on planes. And
Right.
then, at the Darien Gap in Panama, they have all the camps set up there, by Mayorkas, who's funding everything. They get given instructions and everything on how to, navigate the crossover to the border. They're given rape kits too, because they know the women are going to be raped along the route, by people. They know they've lost over 300,000 kids that are probably now in sex slavery or something.
Mhm.
And yet people still hate Trump so much with a passion that they can't see, like, oh, it's humanitarian to let them in. No, it's causing,
It's not.
it's a crime. We're having kids that are being taken, and we're having, just like Trump says, I mean, there's a lot of bad guys coming in and a lot of young men, fighting age that are coming in. You can't tell me they're not setting up sleeper cells all over America.
Oh,
when
I
they're given
totally agree with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about the
That's
Venezuelan
right.
gangs?
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
Venezuelan
look at this Venezuelan thing that's happening in which place is it with the sea?
It's Aurora, Colorado.
In Colorado, just taking over whole parts of Colorado. I mean, this is so scary. What's
Well,
happening?
the thing is, if Kamala gets into power and decides to take over the country as a dictator, let's say, she can call on all of these people that have crossed the border, all the men that are of fighting age. We don't know where their weapons are stashed.
Right.
Look at what has happened in Lebanon. I commend the Israelis. This
Yep.
was an unbelievable thing they did with the bombs and the pagers and now in the phones and the things
Yeah.
like this.
That was
And
pretty
people are
amazing.
mad because they're getting even with who killed them.
Mhm.
Nobody's ever supposed to take the Israeli side anymore. And yet they have been our best ally for years and years, ever since they were formed as a country in 1947. So if these Democrats, these dark state people, Kamala, whom has the strangest person running as her partner,
Oh,
SVP,
I know.
if
Little
they
white-
should call these people together and say, go pick up your guns from the hiding place, your rifles, your grenades, your bombs. Look at the damage they could do. They could actually take us over, I think.
Yeah,
We're talking about millions of people here.
I know. Yep.
There's no way our army could protect us. Our
Well,
army, our armed forces.
they would probably take the side of the Venezuelans because they'd be given orders to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying, is at some point, the people in the military and law enforcement are going to have to decide whose side are we on,
And actually, we were told that this is why they were also given cell phones and the EBT card, which keeps getting, money on it. We were told, people are interviewing people that are coming over, is that they're just waiting to be activated. Like,
Yeah, just to get that call. Sort of
Yeah.
like the Manchurian Candidate, isn't it?
yeah, it's pretty scary stuff.
Very, very frightening.
Yep.
Well, what
So-
other rumors have you heard?
Well, no, so what else, so I had made a list, which is what I was saying
Okay.
is part of the distraction platform. So I made this whole list last night. Look there, don't look here. So she's saying that, the threat to democracy thing is, well, Kamala never even got voted in. Biden got booted out. And she was just installed. They didn't even like vote her in as a nominee. She just got appointed. That right there is a threat to democracy. And then, her socialist agenda, that right there is a threat to democracy. The fact that she's part of the New World Order that people don't even know, I mentioned that there, right there. And then, of course, the whole thing about them inciting violence. There's, they talk about Trump, and MAGA inciting violence. But if you look all over the internet about all of the celebrities and the politicians, they are constantly inciting violence. But you don't see any MAGA and Trump inciting violence at all. So there's just a whole list of us not being the threat to democracy. And that's just the funny thing. Anyway, so that's just what I just had, this whole list of the fact that we are actually not the threat to democracy.
Do you think some people are starting to wake up? Because look, we have all of these huge rallies for Trump, 18,000 last night on Long Island. And Kamala has to bust people in, just like Biden had to get anybody there. And then you see the unions now saying they can't officially endorse anyone because it goes against some of their members. But they take an inside poll, and Trump is obviously so far ahead of Kamala that he'll get those votes. Do you think people are starting to change their minds? Because
I think it's happening slowly, but the thing is,
we don't have much time. 45 days.
But the other thing is that the Harris campaign that they're doing is that they're just saying the same rhetoric over and over and over and over again. And unfortunately, when people just hear the same thing over and over again, you believe it. People believe it. They believe the rhetoric. And that's what this whole Trump derangement syndrome is, and hating MAGA. They just believe that we are a threat to democracy, which is what incites people to want to take him out and hate MAGA so much. Even though it's not real. They don't question it because it's celebrity. Like I said, it's celebrities coming out and saying it, and they want to be they want to go to the party of joy.
It's funny because Trump said something last night at his rally where he's talking about when Biden said, these horrible MAGA people, whatever, and Trump's like, do you even know what MAGA stands for? It's Make America Great Again. Like, why would you be against that? And it was funny. Everybody kind of laughed because
it was funny. Because they think MAGA is like a person or a group of people that are going to attack.
They think we're a cult. They think the MAGA stands for a cult. They don't know what it. But actually, some Democrats are using the same slogan now, the "Make America Great" slogan.
They are.
Yeah. During the DNC, they use the "Make America Great" slogan.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, my.
Make America Great Again. Actually, they used the total slogan
again. Yes,
that's awesome.
Well, there's a little bit of hope. So, did you hear about the guy that predicted the first assassination attempt on Trump?
Yeah.
He's predicted a lot of things.
This guy actually saw the bullet fly past his ear. That guy. So there's a guy that he's got a YouTube. He kind of, I guess he gets visions or whatever. And back in April, he said, well, I see an assassination attempt. This is all, like, you could find it. This was in April. He said, I see an assassination attempt on Trump. And I see a bullet going right past his ear. And I see blood. And he went on and, described it. And then he described some other things. But he also said, I see several more assassination attempts on Trump after that. He goes, but I do see him getting back into the office. But then he went on and said some kind of horrible stuff happens once he's in office. But he sees him, winning. So the other things that he's predicted was mass, just the financial collapse and famine, and that they were going to release another, like another COVID, but a man-made thing that's going to be very deadly. But they're going to purposely release it.
Pretty much, they're doing that.
So the thing is, basically, it sounds like what he's saying is Trump gets back in. So at that point, they got nothing to lose, and they crash the system, and then they also release a plague on the people. So, and he's right about the other assassination attempts. There was one other one that he said where he saw he wasn't sure if she was the assassin or involved, but it had to do with a woman that was dressed very nicely coming down the steps of some fancy place, and that had to do with some kind of an assassination. So this guy, like, the visions he's getting so far have been pretty much on the mark. And then, not to get too far out there, because I know a lot of people won't understand this part, but there's a thing called remote viewing, which was started by the military. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but it has to do with remote viewing persons, places, and things in the timeline. And a lot of them have seen the same thing, that Trump, gets back in. And then there was also the Trump prophecies, of course, which came out back in 2012, where Trump would serve two terms. Now, everybody got pissed off at the guy because they said, oh, he didn't get his second term. But then again, he never said it would be, it was never given to him that it would be consecutive. He just said that he would serve 2 terms. And a lot of the things he talked about, like gas would go down to $1 and things like that, all happened in the first term. So, I'm just saying that, like, maybe there is some hope that that the communists don't get in, but then, then all bets are off on what they do after that, because they'll probably go berserk, because they're not going to give up power, so.
No, they're not. Now, I have some questions about this last attempt on his life, and they're trying to say some things that don't make any sense to me. Like the woman who saw the car and decided to take pictures as he was escaping. How the heck did she know that that was his car that he was trying to escape in, and take the pictures, and had the presence of mind to take the license plate and everything else? Who was she? I have to tell you, if I'm driving down the street past the golf course that I'm familiar is always there, and I'm distracted by a car driving fast or something, I'm not going to take pictures of the license plate and all of that.
I've done it. It's not a crazy thing. If you see somebody running away, jumping into a car and speeding off.
But how much did she see? Did she really see him jumping into a car and speeding off?
Who knows?
We haven't heard the whole story.
Saw. Yeah.
Initially, I heard that she did see someone running from the bushes out of the golf course and jumping in a car.
So that makes more sense then.
Yeah. And I would have done the same thing. I would have also, because
if you see something like that, sure.
Yes, I have tailed people on the freeway that were acting suspiciously. I called 911. I followed them as far as I could. And I've been on the phone with 911 when I followed people. So it isn't that it's like nobody would have done that, because I have done the same thing too. So there.
What did you try to teach her to be a policeman? Good job, Jeff.
No, he didn't need to teach me squats. I have always been this way. I am more detective than Jeff ever was. And he always
tell us why you decided to move to the United States and become a citizen before we have to get off the air. I want to hear the story why you decided to come.
I have always dreamed of being in America. South Africa, like, as much as I love South Africa, I just didn't feel like as safe living there. But I've just always dreamed of America. Well, first of all, I wanted to star in a movie with Tom Cruise. Whether that'll actually happen or not, I don't know. So. Shout out to Tom Cruise if you're listening. Hi, this is
he better be.
But I mean, I wanted to, be a famous movie star. I don't know if that'll happen. But, I just loved the whole American dream. And I don't know, America was just this vision of like beauty and dreams coming true, and the American dream and Hollywood. And then on the other side of things was like, I used to love Desperate Housewives. And I just imagined that whole thing about living in this community with no walls around your houses, and no burglar bars on the windows, and the kids, when I eventually find my man and have a family and have kids, and then just watching out the window and seeing your kids playing in the street with other kids. And then I love the whole thing about the neighbors coming over, even if it's gossiping about the other neighbors, that's fine. But when you're sick, they come over with a casserole And they, but right now it's just me, myself, and I, and this is like alone, nobody around, just living here in my apartment.
Wait, where do you live? What area, north or south?
I'm in like Los
California.
Angeles, like in Chatsworth, where they make porn. But
I don't want you to be that kind of movie star.
No, don't worry, I've never been that kind of movie star. But I want to be in a Desperate Housewives neighborhood where everybody knows everybody, and it's like community and it's friends. But yeah, I gotta find that guy who's gonna take me, into a nice fancy neighborhood.
Well, do you have an agent?
No, I don't have an agent right now. So
do you go on any auditions?
Haven't been on an audition for a while, but Tom, hit me up. It's cool. Just find me through Judith.
Okay, Jeff, we have to work on this. So-called connections we have. Well, that's wonderful. It's so refreshing to have somebody say that they really wanted to move to America. So I love that.
Yeah, so I just came by myself, and I've been here for like 25 years or something now.
25 years?
It's been a while.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Time goes fast, huh? Uh-huh.
But I love it.
Good.
I do love it. I just hope our country gets better, because things have changed a lot over the last couple of years. And
well, you're very talented with writing, so maybe that's part of the entertainment industry you want to be in.
Yeah, I think we do a pretty good job. Yeah, the songwriting has been a lot of fun, and I love, that's actually why, how Jeff and I got together is through the songwriting. Yeah, it's funny. Actually, Jeff and I were in the pool, and I said, he's like, oh, I think I was singing in the pool or something. And he's like, oh, you've got a good voice. I said, thanks. I'm going to be a star.
That's pretty much the first words out of her mouth. I'm going to be a star.
True story, huh?
True story.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, oh, I write songs too. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Maybe we can get together and like write some songs. So we started hanging out, and then I would work on some of his stuff and he'd work on some of my stuff. And then that's how we kind of started falling for each other, as doing the music together.
Well, you guys have been very prolific lately, so I think this is a good sign.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing music together.
And I really like it that you're going towards the patriotic thing.
Yeah, we've done a whole lot of stuff
right now. Yeah.
The new album that comes out is just it's some fun songs on there too. I got a song on it I wrote for my dog. So,
oh, good.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name?
Well, he passed, and so I said I was going to write a song for him. It took me a few years to finally get around to doing it.
Oh,
so
Marty.
It's called Marty. I think it's Marty, My Buddy is the name of the song. But we have a few different songs, just some songs that we wrote over the summer that we put on an album. It's called Unique. Comes out Saturday, and the title song is kind of about. Well, Georgie can tell you more about it, but it's about being bullied, right? When you were.
Yeah, it was actually about it was about being bullied at school, and how we should just like stick to the golden rule of just loving each other and being kind to one another.
Right.
And yeah,
that's
what that song is about.
Well, great. I am so excited about both of these albums. I'm going to have to get them.
Thank
I've been kind of remiss taking care of things for myself lately. So I want to get back into some relaxation and listening to good music. And
there's also a love song on there, because I'm, being single, tragically single, and I've been searching for the one for like forever. Thanks, Jeff. And so it's called Where Are You, Love? And it's such a beautiful love song.
Yeah. She's a lot to handle.
You do have high expectations. When I first met her and I showed a little bit of interest towards her, like I said, are you single? She goes, don't even go there. I only go out with guys that got ripped abs. I'm like, okay. So
you said that?
She actually said that to me. So it's like she does have some.
I did turn him down at first.
Yeah. So
yes, but I'm actually pretty easygoing. I know I seem like I'm a lot, but I am. But I am an amazing catch, and I'm an amazing wife, and I do take care of my man, and I lift up his dreams, and I Definitely take care of my man.
And next week, tune into Who Are You Going to Meet to Fall in Love with Today on the Judith Mancini Today Show.
It might be
We'll
me.
do a dating service. Oh, I love you guys. So
We love
that
you
is
too.
really fun. I think you have some really thoughtful ideas about our government. I'm thrilled with your patriotic music.
Thank
We'll
you.
do this again when Charles can come. To me, this is something we all need right now, going through this horrible time in our country.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Georgie and Jeff, for coming and being with us to discuss your music, but also the State of the Union. And I'll say goodbye to you all now and wish you well. Be careful
Thank you.
out
You
there
too.
and cherish yesterday, dream tomorrow, and live today. Bye, everybody.
Amen.